War, by definition, is a messy business. But in the end, it's the only way to protect ourselves, to speak the language that our enemies understand. The cartels are paramilitary organizations with their own armies. They rule northern Mexico as a quasi-sovereign state. Remember the guy federal prosecutors couldn't wait to get their hands on? He's actually from Colombia and employs a big group of folks down there. Here's the federal prosecutor describing their organization.
We estimate around 6,000. To put that in perspective, he had more employees than the Boston and Miami police departments combined.
1971, President Nixon declared a war on drugs. We're losing. The cartels are winning, and they will keep winning, and Americans will keep dying at record numbers till our leadership wages war on the cartels in a language they understand. That's On Point. John Bolton, former ambassador to the United Nations, national security advisor to President Trump, is with us now. This may be the first time, sir, I've ever interviewed you, and I have no idea where you're going to come down on this. Was President Trump that far out of line by saying, let's take out some of these drug labs?
Well, look, there's no doubt about the seriousness of the problem, as you've outlined. And there's also no doubt that in Mexico, the very foundations of civil government are challenged by the strength of the cartels. Local officials, as you say, have been killed. Reporters, newspapers have been attacked, their offices blown up. And a large part of it depends on the attitude of the government of the United States. In the George W. Bush administration, we had a very effective anti-narcotics program in Mexico, and it was making progress. When the Obama administration came in, Hillary Clinton, to be clear, said, you know, the strength of the drug cartels in Mexico threatens the stability of the Mexican government. And within a very short period of time, weeks as I recall, Barack Obama said, no, it doesn't threaten the stability of the government in Mexico, and the cooperation on the anti-narcotics programs faded. So what Trump inherited was a real mess, and growing worse, aided in large measure by Chinese production of fentanyl, often done in Mexico and shipped into the United States. There is one problem here, though, in saying we're just going to blow up the labs, and that is there is a government in Mexico with which we have a lot of other issues, not least of which is illegal immigration across our border.
Well,
I don't have any trouble.
They're not doing a lot of help. They're not doing a lot of good on illegal immigration. So rather than the carrot we try to stick.
Well, but that's now because of the problem of the policies of the Biden administration. My point is, I think in Mexico, even under the current government, most people don't really like their country being run by the drug cartels. So if we could work more effectively with the Mexicans, you could do a lot more against the cartels and against illegal immigration. And if they were to agree, and I think many of them were, particularly in the Mexican military, to use really tough measures against the cartels, you could make a lot of progress. I don't think this administration cares enough about it, though.
Yeah, well, actually, you know, it's interesting you say that. J.D. Vance, who you and I perhaps both disagree with on some issues, had this to say during the Ohio Senate primary. Take a listen. So there may be the difference between the political parties in terms of what they care about the most. To J.D. Vance's point, if all of a sudden there were the drug kingpins rolling around northern Mexico and their Suburbans suddenly started blowing up from Hellfire missiles or Ninja missiles, maybe it's a CIA program, maybe it's something else, private contractors, who knows, I can't imagine that wouldn't change the way the cartels operate, right?
Right. Well, the question is, do you work with Mexican law enforcement, again, as was being done, I think, quite effectively during George W. Bush's administration, let them carry the bulk of the responsibility, help them with intelligence, help them with other things, conduct joint operations where it's appropriate. You may be able to get a lot more done than just do it unilaterally. So I think people need to focus on this. But the main question is, do you consider it a priority? I don't think the Biden administration does. And I think they and many other people, unfortunately, including a lot of Republicans, are doing the country damage by engaging in practices like legalizing marijuana. I mean, once you get into this system, the cartels, they're happy to sell marijuana, they're happy to sell fentanyl. What do you want to buy?
Yeah, well, this is video from some of the wars, the cartel wars, where, as you point out, just the sheer amount of dollars that are being fought over. Back to this issue, though, how the Mexicans deal with it. Am I to understand that there were policies in place under the George W. Bush administration that could be put back into place right now, where the Biden administration would give the Mexicans free rein, would help them in ways that they would actually take on the cartels in a meaningful way?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you referred to Colombia as well, which was a very serious problem. And through what was called Plan Colombia, we went after, with the government of Colombia, the Marxist bands that had taken up drug selling to help finance themselves. I'm not saying this isn't complicated, and God knows the cooperation of the Mexican government won't be perfect, but there's a lot we could do that we're not doing now. And let's not forget Venezuela, where the Maduro regime now exists, not on expropriating the revenues from sales of oil, which have been reduced, but on the drug trafficking that's still coming out of parts of Colombia. So there are a lot of issues here. The question is, what priority do we put on stopping the flow of illegal drugs into the country? And I think that the Trump administration tried to make that a higher priority. Do you hear about it? No, you make, not at all.
Yeah, you make a great point. Sort of the results speak for themselves, especially when you've got the blueprint from the George W. time. Mr. Ambassador, it's always good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Glad to be with you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.